for Sean Mackey to strike! It's Calvin Miller up against McGowan. Miller sends it in! It's Miller time, baby! Champions again! Falkirk have broken through the glass ceiling! After 15 years in the wilderness, Falkirk Football Club is once again a Premiership club!
This is Falkirk Daft.
With Behind the Wall, we're navy blue, are you?
We're back. It is Falkirk Daft, your second show of the week. We're looking to play our big old pals Hibs once again as they visit the Falkirk Stadium. And what memorable games we've had against them in the stadium over the years. Bob McHugh, anyone? Hello, welcome to Falkirk Daft, your unofficial Falkirk FC podcast. And as ever, joined by the Ginger God of Pod himself to look at the game against Hibs. And we'll speak to a man, Gavin Pearson, as well, just in a bit. It's Ross Wayne.
Good evening, pal. Yes, looking forward to it already. I know it's a few days away, but
we're miles away from it.
I love a game under the lights at Falkirk Stadium, and we've got a not bad a record in recent times versus Hibs as well.
Yeah, it is actually really good. We'll get into it when we get Gavin Pearson on, who works at Hibs. I think he does the screen there, and also works on radio. You'll hear Gavin on the airwaves every week, Sunday, on all the radio stations, Clyde 1, Forth 1, MFR, North Sound 1. He's right across all those stations every Sunday, and you'll often hear him popping up here, there and everywhere as a cover shift, because Gav is brilliant and just does every cover shift for everyone. So Gavin will be talking us through Hibs just in a bit, but first and foremost, let's head to Birthday Corner. And we've got birthday in from Gran. He says, could you wish my partner Michelle a happy birthday for me? Of course we can do that, Gran. And that is from him, Ross, Hannah, Scott, and the dogs. Get this, the dogs are called Toby and Boss. So they went for a kind of normal name and then called the other dog Boss.
Do you think the Boss is after Bruce Springsteen?
Listen, if you name your dog after Bruce Springsteen, you go down as a legend in my books.
Toby's a proper dog's name as well, eh?
Toby is a dog's name, eh?
Yeah. Do you know what's the oddest dog's name ever? I used to work with a guy years ago, and do you know what he called his dog? Kevin.
I love that. See,
Kevin's
people that
not
call
a
him
dog's name though.
I love people that call dogs' names just by normal names, like Barry or something like that. I always find Gary the dog. I just love that. It's like, I mean, we've got Barney. Barney's, I mean, no offence to our good striking Barney Stewart, but we've got our Barney, and like that's a dog's name. It's a dog's name. But I do appreciate and doff my cap to those people that do call their dogs like John. You know what I mean?
That is random though, isn't it? Like, but then it's changed days. Remember when dogs you were just called after booze, like brandy and all that kind of stuff? You know what I mean?
I've never heard a dog called Bucky or Tennant's right enough.
No, that is true. That is true.
But yeah, happy birthday to Michelle. There she goes. And you've got one as well.
I do, yes. So our good big pal Gary Hamilton, his
yes.
birthday today as we're recording, which is the Sunday the 14th of September. I see he had a day out with his missus Lauren. And yeah, I hope he has a fantastic day.
He'll be down in the Vic. He'll be down in the Vic, undoubtedly, in Cairnshore.
No doubt that is where he's probably spending his evening, I would think.
100%. Well, happy birthday to Gary. A couple of Bairns birthdays as well. We're going back to Monday and a couple of Bairns. Stuart Monroe, remember Stuart Monroe? He was
ex-Rangers fullback.
He was Lambie era. I think John Lambie got him.
Yeah, so when Lambie got the chop, I think Stuart Monroe was made player assistant manager alongside that Muppet, what was his name? Jerry Collins. He was kept on, wasn't he? Yeah.
That's right. So he's 63, believe it or not. Dean Holden, Dean Holden was doing really well as a manager down south for a bit. I'm just going to quick do a Google. But Dean Holden, you remember him from, I think, was Dean Holden part of the 2009 Scottish Cup side? I
think he was before that. I think he was he was like, remember he played alongside Cedric Uras.
Yes, he was a great player, great left back, and obviously good in midfield because he could play the holding role.
Indeed, but remember there was that.
Oh, you just brushed. I cannot believe you just brushed off that fantastic joke.
No, fair play. That was a good one.
You're
I
just
was
like,
just
move on.
I was just going to say though, do you remember there was that thing about Afyes holding Uras?
That's right. That's right. That was good.
And it was a good job. Well done, George. Sorry.
There you go, 46. Andy Seaton, the legend that is Andy Seaton, is 48. Andy, I think he's on the taxis now, Andy, actually.
Was it?
I don't know what Andy does. I'm sure he was a taxi driver. I might be wrong. But Andy Seaton, one we need to get on Falkirk Daft Live, because apparently a great chat.
I thought Andy Seaton worked at the airport.
Oh, maybe he does. Maybe he does.
I think so, anyway.
There you go.
Keep it all.
Andy Nelson, remember Andy Nelson? We had him on loan for Sunderland.
Yes, him and that was the Hartley.
Tommy.
The Hartley loan signings, wasn't he?
Yeah, so Andy, he did actually all right for us, Andy Nelson. He went, I think he did Dundee as well. He's only 28. Looked up his career. I think he's come back from an injury. He was playing for like a kind of lower league side, but he was at Darlington for years and years and years. But
he was made of glass, though. That was his issue.
That was true. Shout out to Cammy Bell, who turns 40 this week. Gave me an absolute nightmare at the weekend because he left the mic was left up in the studio and he didn't know the mic was left up. It was all over the papers and I'm just like, oh no. So I was like, it was like said something about Russell Martin and Russell Martin, I don't want to hear from him or something like that. So Cammy Bell, 40, no wonder he's not taking a shift on Super Scoreboard this week. Happy birthday, Cammy, obviously played in the Sticks with us. James Cunning and Mark Howard are born on the 21st. Now James Cunning, do you remember who James Cunning was?
I remember the name, but I couldn't tell you the season.
Played under Alex Totten. Now, James, as well as playing for Falkirk, went on to have a different career as a musician.
Oh yes, of course he changed his name, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He did. Was this the Las Vegas or something like
yes,
that?
Correct. Well done, Ross. A musical question there.
I know,
so the lead singer of Las Vegas, James, and he changed his name to James Allen, which that was I think that was his mother's name or his stepdad's name or something. I can't remember. But James from Las Vegas, yeah, he played for Falkirk, and I love that. I always love that fact. And actually, when I worked at XFM, James and the Las Vegas guys were on in recording a session for us. And I had just great Falkirk chat with James for Las Vegas. He said Neil Berry, because he was in that side under Totten. He said, because it was Eamon Bannon into kind of Tot. So he came off the bench a couple of times in that 96. But he said Neil Berry was a legend.
Brilliant.
So
Jesus Christ.
I know. And Mark Howard obviously played for us and went on to bigger things. Mark Howard played St Mirren as well, but was probably better known now as Wrexham if you've watched the Wrexham story. Welcome to Wrexham. Mark Howard features heavily in that and played for the Bairns.
He does very heavily, and I think he's got his own podcast as well.
He was on loan from Arsenal, wasn't he?
Yeah, no, he was.
Was it
I thought we signed him permanently, did we not? Or was it a loan deal?
I think it maybe was a loan deal, but he was a good keeper for us. Patrice Tano, born on the 22nd.
The hero of, or the villain of Firhill, wasn't he? Absolutely destroyed, 5-0 or something, one game at Firhill. Jesus.
Yeah, Patrice Tano, there you go, 33. And then a couple other ones. Brian Whittaker, you'll know him.
Roger, yep.
Yep, Roger, 69. And one of the few Italians to play for Falkirk, Rafael De Vita, 38.
Yeah, Jesus, he's only 38, is he? That feels a long time ago as well.
It does feel an eternity ago, but there you go. Making you feel old on the podcast, on Birthday Corner. So that's the Falkirk Bairns birthdays this week. If you want to have your birthday mentioned, drop us a line on our socials at Falkirk Daft. You'll get us on Facebook. You can drop us a line there, or Instagram, or on Twitter, and we'll pick that up and give you a birthday shout out. And of course, a shout out to Behind the Wall, our sponsors. Stay local, eat and drink with Global. Kim Carney is there the 19th, which is the tomorrow night when you're listening to this. James Grant, I raved about this. Get a ticket for James Grant on the 27th. And we've talked about there's still spaces for the Hibs game on Tuesday. £5 return from Behind the Wall, and you get your carling after the game as well on the Falkirk Daft Carling coach. And of course there's still spaces for Hearts as well, which is not long away as well. So yeah, get booked at Behind the Wall, give Scotty a shout at the bar, or just give them a call and they'll reserve tickets for you. It's £10 return to Tynecastle, by the way. Okay, and It's really good price, really good price if you're heading through and we're lucky enough to get a ticket in the ballot. Right, we're going to go and speak about Hibs now, and we're going to do it in the company of my good friend Gavin Pearson.
I didn't know you could sound that good. That's impressive, John. Good
Thank
effort.
you, thanks. You know, not just the pretty face behind the production. I should have really been a presenter like you, Gav.
Yeah, you're kind of warm. I mean, normally you speak to us in aggressive tones, telling us what to do here, there, and everywhere. And I've got to let everybody into a secret that John, as the producer, has a very annoying phrase that he uses from time to time. When we do something on the air and he tells us that it sounds so partridge, that is the biggest insult any of us behind the mic can get. And he knows it annoys us, and he still says it. We'll do something, we'll finish it, go into the song, and he says, "Oh, that was so partridge, Gav. I just want to kill him."
Well,
So there you go.
Gav, I can fill you in on something. So last season we had George Bowie on this show, and he was previewing Falkirk versus Greenock Morton, because obviously George is a big Morton fan.
Oh, he's still pretending on that, is he?
He's still pretending. Yeah.
I still hold that.
And he did regale us with a story of how he was on a train going up to Aberdeen, and there was Falkirk fans there, and they said John is brilliant, however he is very partridge, and that was what they told George Bowie.
No, it's a bit rich coming from him when he says that, but I can tell you that any broadcaster, the biggest insult you can give them is to compare them to Alan Partridge. You immediately feel ashamed. You immediately back up and think, what have I done? And I probably will go a bit Partridge in the next 10 minutes, make no mistake.
I'm sure you won't, Gavin. You're always a pressure. I'm glad, because not only do you work in the radio, you also work at Easter Road as well.
Yeah, I have the responsibility of manning the floodlights, which is incredible. Somehow I've landed this role, but it also includes, I mean, it's all part of the game day package at Easter Road that includes the screens as well, and the audio that goes with the screens. So I worked there for many years as an announcer, and then I went back couple of seasons ago when they kind of expanded it, like many clubs with VAR. Now you have to have the screens, and we've used the screens obviously to extend the experience, and it's fantastic. We've seen that at all the grounds, of course, but it means there's a lot more to do.
We've got big telly now as well, Gav. We've got a massive big telly at the Falkirk Stadium. It's it's a like try before you buy type thing from like Radio Rentals or whatever, but it's like, I was just saying in this week's episode as well, it's like if the game gets shite, you can just like put on like an action movie. Or Ross then said, what about Pornhub? But that's his mind that just goes into the gutter.
All right, okay. Well, got to make sure his laptop's not connected to it, then we'll be all right. That's fine.
Well, I'm sure Gavin's not going to look at anything dodgy.
No, he doesn't. Gavin doesn't do anything dodgy.
The big flight risk at Hibs, and I know from working with him years ago, Gavin, is Cliff, who I believe is still the Hibs TV commentator.
Yeah, well, he was the original.
Is he the OG, was he?
Yeah, the OG. He's the guy that founded all the Hibs TV and streaming the commentary during the game. So he's the legend. He's a good guy. He's
a brilliant guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Hibs then, Gav. I mean, absolutely sensational season last, from being really shit, and then that Aberdeen turning point which came in that draw at Easter Road, and he's just since then I've just motored on, and you've done so well.
Well, I wouldn't say we've motored on. Certainly not motored into the start of the season, but it's bizarre to think we're still unbeaten in the league and still without a defeat at Easter Road since that. Before that, Aberdeen. So that's almost a year since we've lost a league game at Easter Road. But I think the thing that's most frustrating is you think about what could have been, and you can tell me more about this. I will not focus too much on this because this game against Falkirk is obviously in your patch. But just the overall thing about Easter Road, as a Falkirk fan, is there something about Easter Road that inspires visiting teams for you? Because I just feel we can't take care of our home games. It's been a bit of a problem. We drop a lot of points at home. We've already had 3 draws against teams that you'd really want to beat if you're going to be a serious contender. And second place is obviously something that can be taken this year, at least. So what do you think when you come to Easter Road as a Falkirk fan?
Well, I'm sure John and I have similar thoughts, but it is obviously a phenomenal stadium in terms of the fact that it's all closed in. The atmosphere is usually pretty good. I don't differentiate it from Tynecastle now in the respects of the atmosphere. Tynecastle was always described as having the best atmosphere in Scottish football. I think Easter Road is probably there or thereabouts now as well. You obviously get more away fans at Easter Road, which is helpful. But I think it's somewhere people resonate with going to watch a Premier League football game. So I think for me, for that reason, John, I don't know if you're different, but for me, it is somewhere that I enjoy going to as a fan, and I'm sure the players rock up at Easter Road and want to. The pitch is always good as well, and I think that they probably do want to go and kind of put on a bit of a show.
Yeah, they do, definitely. Sorry, John, you were going to speak there.
Oh, he's on mute. There he is.
Yeah, no, like I say, Ross nailed it. I do think that Easter Road is a point. I like going to Easter Road as well. Like I think we've had some really good results at Easter Road, and it's always a really good game against Hibs. I mean, Hibs supporters don't seem to like Falkirk that much, Gav, and it probably goes back to the season where we're kind of both jostling in the league, and obviously you guys went on to win the Scottish Cup, obviously, but we had that, and you can see it behind me, the famous Bob McHugh goal at Falkirk Stadium.
Who had 6 minutes on John bringing that up?
Yeah,
would be
yeah,
in there nice and early.
No, absolutely.
Put the nail in Stubbs' career. It's a very bizarre situation that your manager wins the Scottish Cup for the first time in more than 100 years, and yet still ends up out the door because of that game, because of that playoff. Yeah, it just seems like there's all this chat about how clubs lift their game against the Old Firm, but there's just something that the likes of I've Falkirk, Livingston, Ross County previously, St Mirren, who actually look pretty decent this season anyway, and probably will give a lot of teams a difficult time, are coming to Easter Road, and they seem to have energy, they have buzz, and it's I do think we've got it looking so good, and the pitch is great to play on that it does it.
Yeah, it
they
does
relish the opportunity, and they feel like they can enjoy it a good day out. And I think that we've almost created a bit of a problem for ourselves, but we could probably cross that bridge and discuss it more when you guys are coming to Easter Road, and we look forward. But I've got to say, wonderful to see Falkirk back in, well-supported club. Delighted for you guys to see you coming up, and you've enjoyed some great games and some dramatic games, and one cup semi-final, for example.
Oh, we don't I don't want to mention that cup semi-final. Jesus Christ, that still gives me PTSD. 3-0 up, and we should have been 4-0 up. And Lyle Taylor and Jesus, then Lee Griffiths steps up and just hits a hat.
I'd rather talk about the other semi-final.
Let's talk about the other semi-final when Craig Sibbald scored. Yeah, that's 100%. But just looking down your squad, Gavin, I mean, it does ooze of a team that's shooting towards that top six and challenge. When you look at down the players, I think Josh Mulligan has been really impressive. With his move to Dundee, as has Jamie McGrath as well. I've really been interested in how they developed at Hibs. But then you look down like Dylan Levitt's there. You've signed Grant Halley, Scottish international. You've went out and signed this guy, Kwaji. Was it £1 million? Kwaji spent about £1 million on as well.
Yeah, he's so far maybe not showing the signs of the investment, or the we're so far not feeling like it's hard to say it's not worth it, but there were one or two touches yesterday. You're thinking, right, okay, this is it. Now, you've got to bear in mind that coming to Edinburgh, coming to Scotland is an adjustment for a player. It maybe takes a bit of time to settle in. Obviously, his role involves a lot of interaction and getting to know the supply and the players that can put the ball in where he needs it, etc. So you've got to get to know the players. So we've got to give him a bit of time. But, he came on as a sub yesterday. There were one or two touches. He came very close to rescuing us in Warsaw with that lob that... he was very unlucky. It was just over the bar. It was a great bit. It was a difficult chance, and he nearly buried it. And what could have been so different had it just been a couple of inches lower would have been so special. But yeah, I think he's got the potential to be good. He's definitely shown it, but you've got to give him some time to settle in. You mentioned McGrath. McGrath was player of the match yesterday in the 6-goal thriller against Dundee United, which in the end you have to feel is disappointing. Absolutely brilliant game, and Dundee United, all credit to them for coming and really exploiting the problems we seem to have at the back. David Gray has signposted that in his post-match interview, that it was a very disappointing defensive performance. That was clear to see. Got asked questions, the goalkeeper at the second goal, what's the keeper doing? That's the phrase that we all hear now when they're advancing and they're committing themselves to a position of no man's land, where there was nothing he could really do. But in terms of McGrath, definitely, and he took the penalty in Martin Boyle's absence and coolly slotted it away. Very, very pleased with how he settled in. Mulligan, even more so. Yeah. And the versatility from Mulligan is there to see as well. I'm delighted. I can't believe that the Old Firm I mean, I think they showed an interest, but to have been able to take him from under the Old Firm's nose, because I think he could have been, he's potentially a great player for any club in this league and beyond. And it's just going to, and I think if he's not been in the Scotland squad yet, has he? But he's got to be something to be considered. Even in the games that are coming, a squad player.
And talking about Scotland squad, Gavin, Kieran Bowie again getting a goal at the weekend there against Dundee United. Calls for, he was in Scotland squad, calls that he should have played and got more minutes in that double header as well. But he's a man that is on form, and you'll be delighted that Hibs were able to hold on to him in the transfer window, because there was all sorts of rumours flying about that he could end up at Celtic.
Yeah, there were. I mean, sometimes, without being critical of our colleagues that work in the newspapers, it's one of those things that there's a lot. You wonder just how much true action there was for him to move. We see that the columnists will identify a player as a potential benefit for the Old Firm, for Celtic and Rangers. We saw that with Kieran Bowie, with Chris Boyd and Chris Sutton, both week after 1 week after the other, saying Celtic or Rangers, he would be a great. Of course, he would be. But he's still got a lot of improving to do. He's improved quite a lot since we signed him, I've got to say.
Yeah.
Because it's his strength. He's getting fouled left, right, and centre. They're climbing all over him. He's obviously, that's his strength, and he's backing into players, laying the ball off, etc. I hope that he sees out the season at Easter Road, for not just for selfish reasons, but for the fact that I think it'll just make him a better player. He will play regularly. There's been a couple of times when Cadden has just floated the ball beautifully right onto his napper, and the service that you can get from Nicky Cadden, and there's a great combination that we saw a lot at the end of last season. I'd love to see more of this season. I think he'll benefit from that. And yeah, I was screaming in the Denmark game, wanting him to come off the bench. I thought, be bold, go on, throw something, and Che Adams did play well in the game against Belarus, but I felt like there could have been maybe a little bit of boldness in terms of would it have been ridiculous to have given Bowie 10, 15 minutes in Denmark? Who knows?
See on that though, Gavin, I think on Bowie, he's obviously got a lot of potential, and I think he is probably better off at Hibs, because, as you said, like, you guys are closer to the media side than I am, obviously, but and it won't be either of you guys, but you get Rangers or Celtic minded pundits in the media, and they almost throw a name out there to either unsettle the player or unsettle the other team, usually in the build up to Hibs playing Rangers. Like this week, I'm sure you'll see loads of rubbish about Bowie and everybody else, but I think and going back to the Scotland point as well, Clark unfortunately has fell into that SFA dinosaur of you need to play the players that are traditional Scotland players, sadly. So I don't think it's a slight on Kieran, to be honest, but it is a worry. You mentioned there about Hibs having a sort of defensive frailties, and Falkirk will obviously have players that can go and deal with that and hopefully exploit it. But at the same time, we're in a similar position where we've not, well, have we? Yeah, so we've kept one clean sheet so far. So we have found keeping the back door shut really challenging. And I think the Hibs game we've got coming up will be a big test for them.
Yeah, we're the same. We've only had one clean sheet. And it was it Livingston, wasn't it? With the cup game. The goalkeeper is a difficult one, because I know
you're a big Gavin is a goalkeeper himself. He's played six for the Clyde One team. He's a very good goalkeeper as well. But you're always critical of knowing you, Gavin. I know you were really not happy with Jordan Smith. Is Salinger an upgrade on him?
Well, let me just sort of back up a little bit on Jordan Smith. And bear in mind, quick history about being critical of goalkeepers. I've seen some of the best at Easter Road growing up.
Conrad Logan.
Yeah, of course, in the background there, as you can see.
Andy Gorham, though, was a big Hibs goalie.
Ruffy had a great spell at Hibs, right? He probably had his best spell at Hibs, I would say. He got himself back into the Scotland team, remember, after Leighton's dominance. And then Gorham, I've never seen a better keeper than Gorham. He is the best that I've ever seen. I don't care. You can throw Buffon at me. I just think that Gorham was an underdog. His dominance of the area, his cross. I mean, his handling more than anything else. He came for crosses at the penalty spot and would claim them, not punch, claim them. he was brave. He enjoyed the game. He loved it. I mean, he wanted Edinburgh Derby. He wanted the ball at his end. He hated when Hibs were attacking. He wanted to be busy. And I love that. And you look at goalkeepers now, and they almost look. It's just like stress and pressure that's on goalkeepers. Gordon was smiling. He loved it. Leighton was great, fantastic, great second spell for him. Got him back in the Scotland squad as well. So yeah, I've seen some fantastic goalkeepers in our time at Easter Road. Seen some horror shows as well. Jordan Smith is a great character, very passionate about the club. He's enjoying his time there, and by the way, has made some phenomenal saves. But he cost us a goal arguably yesterday. The second goal against Dundee United, we against Partizan. We got through only just, but difficult first half, obviously, conceding 2 soft goals. A phenomenal second half. David Gray, very pleased to see him bounce back. Making saves that you'd expect your goalkeeper to make. That's the big thing. He's doing it most of the time, but there's still this fear. He reminds me a lot of Bruce Grobbelaar, if you remember him.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of, he's got the same kind of body energy as Bruce Grobbelaar. I want to see him do well. The fans want to see him do well. We don't know too much about Salinger yet. He's not been really playing all that much. Played against Livingston in the clean sheet. Not a lot going on. Wasn't kept very busy. So, we're waiting to see. Who knows? David Gray has shown a lot of faith in him. Will he still do it? How will he respond to that second goal yesterday against Dundee United, where he was in no man's land? Who knows? Maybe that's one too many. There might be a change come next weekend, but I don't see it going into a cup game. You want to keep that fairly settled. But I'd just like to see him being a little more reliable.
Yeah. Anyone from a Falkirk perspective that you're worried about, Gavin? I don't know how much of Falkirk you've been able to see over the last couple of seasons, because the team's pretty much solid apart from the guys we've got in loan now. Is there anyone that you're worried about from a Falkirk?
I know you've caught me out. I haven't done anything.
You can just say Scott Arfield, because that's usually the standard answer from everyone.
Are you able to edit that bit there? Are we just audio here, or is it video as well?
Oh, it's video as well, and it doesn't get edited, Gavin. So you're in no man's land. As Gavin quickly Googles the Falkirk team.
This is just like Hibs in general with Falkirk. We are their kryptonite. We have put Gavin to the sword here.
I thought you were just going to ask me about Hibs. You've caught me out. Okay.
That's okay, Gavin. Not everyone knows like the team's inside out. Like, I've got an encyclopedic knowledge of Scottish football working on Super Scoreboard. But yeah, I mean, I guess not a lot of people, and this is the thing said about Falkirk. There's a lot of feeling out with Falkirk. A lot of teams are getting to grips with Falkirk as our supporters, because we've been away for 15 years. So we're a bit of an unknown to a lot of people. I was just interested to see if there was anyone that you'd maybe heard of come across that you think, they could be a threat.
Brian Graham, of course, is a threat. I mean, of course, he knows where the goal is. He's got an incredible experience. And, see players that have been at Easter Road and played for Hibs. We've seen Stevie Crawford, Craig Brewster, Paul Hartley, all these guys through the years. For some reason, when they play against us in the future, come back to haunt us. And Brian Graham had a spell with us, a very short spell, of course. But I think in terms of what he could offer you against us, that kind of experience and being able to maybe break down this defence that Hibs has that maybe just lacks a bit of confidence.
I don't think he'll start. I think we were talking about in the podcast on Monday. He's what we've deemed a finisher in the game. He scored a great goal at the weekend. In fact, I'll ask Gavin this question, because I asked this on Monday's podcast. Can you name Brian Graham in the last 10 years is the 4th oldest person to score in the Scottish Premiership? If you can give me any of the other 3, I will be very impressed, Gavin Pearson.
Holt wasn't older than that, was he?
Nope.
No. So other players that were older in the Scottish...
Brian Graham.
Dwight Gale, no?
No.
No, he's still relatively young compared to some of the players that are playing now. Oh, good grief, that's a good question.
There you go. You can think about that one. I'll leave that one with you.
Is that a half-time teaser, is it?
That's the full... Don't worry, it's actually getting used on Super Scoreboard this week, so don't worry about that. Right, listen, Gavin, what do you think the score's going to be come Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yeah,
You've got
I
Rangers in
think-
between that, obviously,
Yeah.
so you probably won't be thinking about it. But it's our next game. What do you think the score will be?
I actually think we'll sneak a 2-1.
We 2.
I do. I feel more confident, bizarrely, about taking you on at the Falkirk Stadium than taking you on at Easter Road. For the reasons I've talked about before, and the hunger and the excitement of playing at Easter Road and this feeling that teams like yourselves have. I think at the moment, we seem to be playing better on the road, seem to find a different gear on the road for some reason. And I think it's going to be, 2-1 I'm predicting here.
There you go, Ross.
Well, I mentioned it earlier. We are a little bit like kryptonite to Hibs, and
Haters.
Gavin won't know this, but recently we've put in these fancy blue LEDs at the stadium, and I think Hibs will rock up. It'll be dark. They'll see the light. They'll think, no, we can't cope with this stadium with the fans tonight. And I think Falkirk will win 3-2. I think there'll be a lot of goals.
A good chance to get the disco lights on, isn't it?
Disco lights are on as well.
Disco lights will be on.
Gavin knows all about the disco lights, and I'm assuming they've got some fancy thing for the TV when we score a goal as well. So I think there'll be goals. I'm going to say Falkirk 3-2.
Well, there you go. 3-2, goals galore. There we go. I'm looking forward to this game.
What are you thinking, John? What's your prediction?
I think it'll be a wee Desmond, a wee 2-2. I think it's going to
Copyright Derek Johnston.
Yeah, absolutely. Desmond, I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. We need to, again, well, we talked about, we talked about the game against St Mirren, obviously, on Monday, Ross, but it is that way. It's like, again, we just need to we need a win at home, though. We do need a win at home. I do hope you're right, and it is the 3-2, but Hibs are a good side. I think it'll be a very open game. You saw games against Dundee United, fantastic game of football. I think we'll be in a real treat in terms of a game of football. So hopefully a win for Falk, but my head's telling me a draw, but we will wait and see. Gavin, before we let you go, however, and I didn't tell you about this because I don't tell anyone who comes on the podcast about this, we've got a quiz. Yay! Because everybody loves a quiz, and it's called How Well Do You Know Your Club? Now, we have had Aberdeen, Livingston, St Mirren, Celtic and Dundee United supporters on. Current top of the tree is 8 points, and that was Sheepy for Aberdeen. A person that you will know very well, Livingston supporter Stuart Barry, got 6 points, and he is second in the league. St Mirren, represented by one of our producers who also worked with, Ross Turnbull, he got 5 last week. My mate Chippy, who's representing Celtic, 4, and then Dundee United, Fiona and Rab, at the start of the season, they got 3 points, right? And what's like the 5k minute? I'm talking in radio terms now. So there's 60 seconds on the clock. Ross is going to have the timer. I'm going to give you the questions. You can pass in any. If you've got time at the end, we'll come back to the ones you pass on.
And there's a prize of £5,000, is there?
We're working on that. But yeah, I've got your questions. Ross, have you got the timer?
I do indeed. I'm ready to go.
Right, okay. Gavin Pearson on How Well Do You Know Your Club? Your time starts now. What was the name of Hibs ground before Easter Road?
Oh, don't know. Pass.
Which one of the famous 5 also played for Falkirk?
Laurie Riley.
In what decade did Hibs become the first club to play in the European competition?
1950s.
Who was the chairman when Hibs won the 2016 Scottish Cup?
Rod Petrie.
And what season did Hibs last win the Scottish Championship?
Scottish Championship, that would be 2016, 2017.
Which Hibs player scored a hat-trick in a 6-2 Edinburgh derby win against Hearts in October 2000?
Mixu Patalainen.
Which Hibs legend was capped 38 times by Scotland and later became assistant manager at Aberdeen?
How many times? Capped?
38 times capped, assistant manager at Aberdeen, Hibs legend.
Alex Miller. No.
Which Hibs defender scored a dramatic injury time equaliser against Hearts in the 2016 Scottish Cup 5th round?
Paul Hanlon.
That's the time up, boys. That's the time up.
I've started, so I'll finish. Which
Paul
Hibs striker was known as the Hammer of the Huns for his scoring record against Rangers?
I don't know.
I don't know. There you
This
go.
was pathetic.
5, Gavin. I'll go through the answers for
I got 5.
You got 5.
Oh,
There you
crikey,
go.
it's 5. That's 4 more than I thought I got.
So well done on you. That puts you third, joint third in the table with St Mirren. The answers to the question, Hibs name of Hibs ground before Easter Road was Hibernian Park or the Meadows. That was they played there before Easter Road. Which one of the famous five also played for Falkirk? It was Willie Ormond who played for Falkirk. You got 1950s, got Rob Petrie, 16-17. You struggled but got there in the end, but it was McHugh Pat Lyon. Which Hibs legend was capped 38 times by Scotland and later became assistant manager at Aberdeen? Pat Stanton.
Of course.
Pat Stanton. And Joe Baker was the hammer of the Huns, apparently. So
I used to work with Joe Baker.
There you go. He was the hammer of the Huns. That's what his nickname was at Easter Road, apparently. And the last question, I think you would have got this one. Who was the last Hibs player to score over 20 league goals in a single season?
20 league goals. Jason Cummings.
Lee Griffiths.
I'm hopeless.
Lee Griffiths. There you go.
Goal for every child that he's
These
fathered.
are difficult. Absolutely. Look, the problem is, I've spent my career asking questions in quizzes.
And
I've
then,
very rarely been a contestant.
but well, listen, you're joint third, Gavin, so you've done Hibs proud.
I'd take joint third at the end of the season.
You didn't beat Stuart Barry, however, and I will be messaging him to let him know that was the fact that you did beat him, so he's still...
To be honest, I think if I had beaten Stuart Barry, I'd have to be looking at myself in the mirror.
There you go. There you go.
Stato himself.
Absolutely, absolutely. Listen, Gavin Pearson from Radio Clyde, absolute legend of a radio presenter. They're going to make a statue of this man when he retires from radio. But yeah, listen, thank you so much for coming on Falkirk Daft.
It's an absolute pleasure. You guys did such a great job. And well, seriously, I mean that when I say it. It's great to have. I was delighted. It's great to have Falkirk back in the top flight. Great organisation. Great home for football as well. Good place to go and play football. So you're where you deserve to be. So
it just means we can talk more shite football at work as well, Gav.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely. Listen, Gav, thanks so much for coming on Falkirk Daft.
Glory, glory.
So there we go. Ready for Hibs. Gavin confident of a Falkirk win. Obviously, sorry, Hibs win. And we're obviously confident that we'll get something, Ross. It's like say we need to start winning. We need to get a win under our belt at the stadium because it just felt so alien against St Mirren to not win at the stadium.
Yeah, or get a positive result, as you said. We've not had many of those. So,
I know.
But listen, it's got to be as much as my bravado with Gavin on there about Falkirk being a bit kryptonite to Hibs. Listen, Hibs have won plenty at Falkirk and versus Falkirk at Easter Road as well. So, but I do think we have something about us. That unknown quantity, like, don't get me wrong, I'm sure Hibs will do their homework on us.
Yeah.
But what they won't be able to do is obviously watch us this weekend. So we have an extra few days off. Hopefully that is a big plus. Whereas Hibs have a very, very tough cup tie against Rangers. Well, I'm saying tough. Obviously, Rangers aren't in great shape now, right? However, they have a game, and I am sure it will be they'll be going toe to toe with them. So, I am quite happy we don't have a game this weekend actually, and it sets us up for this Hibs midweek game quite well.
Yeah, 100%. And before we go, thank you very much to Falkirk Football Fans in Training, sponsoring this show as ever. Ian and the boys get down to the Falkirk Stadium Wednesday 8:30 to 9:30. The over 50 section set up. All the details are in the link below. They're making memories. You're going to have fun. You're going to get fit. You're going to make new pals. All that's going to happen if you get signed up to the Falkirk Football Fans in Training, the T8s, who've been going together for the last 10 years. It's unbelievable, that sort of stuff. All the links below to get in touch with either Ian, Wally, or Dougie. Please get along to that. And that is it for our preview show for Falkirk Daft. Spare weekend. What are you going to do with the weekend, Ross? Anything exciting?
Not sure yet, mate. No, not sure yet. Yeah, no plans at this stage, which I'm quite glad about because I've just had a busy weekend. So yeah, I'm hopeful it's going to be a quiet one. What about you? Have you got any pre-made plans?
Family get together on Saturday, which usually ends in absolute chaos and carnage. So we'll be going round to the Christies this Saturday in Larbert for a bit of a swally, so that'll be good. But yeah, thanks very much for listening. Hope you have a great weekend as well. Remember, you can drop us a message anytime. Get us on our socials at Falkirk Daft, or you can email us, John or Ross at Falkirk Daft. We both get those messages that come through. Even if you want to sponsor an episode, we're open to sponsorship. We're very cheap, as I always say. We're very, very cheap. And you can sponsor, get your local business, get involved with Falkirk Daft. We'd love to have you on. See us on YouTube if you're listening, or if you're listening and watching, you can see us on YouTube. Have I just said that? Yeah. Or if you're watching, you can listen to us when you're out for the dog walk. That's what you can do. We'll get us on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. By the way, and what I want to say is as well is I want to start off first time listeners, right? Because we get probably about 2,000 maybe listeners a week, right? Or watchers a week. I think we can up that I think there's about 5,000, there's over 5,000 season ticket holders at the Falkirk Stadium now. I think, ask a friend, say, listen to Falkirk Daft, those boys are alright, they're okay, they're good lads. Listen to Falkirk Daft, you might enjoy it. So if you are a first time listener, tell your friends, whoever doesn't listen to Falkirk Daft, spread the message. Just say, you listened to Falkirk Daft before? And if they say no, say, well, you should. And then for every new listener we get, we'll give them a mention on the podcast. There you go. First time listeners, that's what I'm looking for. Pass on the message, spread the message, spread the word on Falkirk Daft. We'd love to have you on board with us. So there you go. We should make some sort of, whoever gets as many people, like a reward scheme, like a pyramid. I'm thinking some sort of pyramid scheme, Ross.
I like that.
For any way of making money out of this, let me think about that. But if you haven't listened, if you know someone that hasn't listened to the podcast, get them to listen. Let us know, and we'll give you a shout out in the podcast. There you go. Great. And if you made it to this point in the podcast, well done you. Right, we're getting up the road. I'm going to go and get my dinner now. And until Hibs, what are we saying?
Expect unexpected.
We're Falkirk Daft, we're Falkirk Daft. Talking about the dark blues and having a bit of a laugh. We're Falkirk Daft, we're Falkirk Daft. You can listen in the pub or you can listen in the bath. We're Falkirk Daft, we're Falkirk Daft. For everyone who's caring about being a Falkirk in, we're Falkirk Daft. We are Falkirk Daft.